the ROG Phone 2. This thing is on fire. It sold out within 10 seconds of going on sale here in China. So many people wanted this phone and couldn't buy it that Asus had to issue a public apology for not being able to fill orders. So let's put it up against, up until right now, the other hottest phone of 2019, the Redmi K20 Pro. The K20 Pro gives you so much for your money. Snapdragon 855 OLED screen. It's a powerful phone and great value. So spending the extra money for this, is it worth it? We've got a Snapdragon 855 Plus. It's a gaming phone, 120Hz refresh rates. Is spending the extra money on a super powerful gaming phone really worth it? The ROG Phone 2 is unapologetically a monster phone. It's big, it's brash, it's got those huge bezels. Why? Front-facing stereo speakers. This is a gaming phone, this thing, and of course the Redmi K20 Pro, being a much more mainstream phone, is going to have a more mainstream design. It's smaller, it's lighter. So is the ROG Phone 2 just too big? It's definitely big, it's heavy, it's thick, but it is usable. You actually just get a bigger screen as well as it being a bigger device. Those front bezels somehow don't look that big when you have the whole phone in your hand. And I've got to say, I like what Asus did with the back here. This logo just lights up. It's a really cool touch. I think Asus have done a good job with the design on this phone. It's definitely a gaming phone, but what's good about it is that they've toned back the gaming nature of it a little bit so that you can actually just have it in your pocket and use it as a normal phone. Problem with a lot of gaming phones, they go too far, they're too specific, and they're almost putting off a lot of normal people who will just say, I can't have that phone as my daily usage phone. But yeah, it's heavy, it's big. I mean, people are gonna notice this thing. How about the under-screen fingerprint sensors on both of these devices? Of course, both have OLED screens. It's not really a competition here. The Redmi has a much faster fingerprint sensor. You'll see them side by side in a second, but the ROG phone has face unlocking, which you can use. And as the camera is in the front bezel there, it's going to be super quick. The other thing the ROG phone has over the Redmi is that 120Hz refresh rate screen. Let's turn that on for the rest of the review. Before I get to the speed test and gaming review, let's have a look at the cameras in both of these. If you want to see more pictures from these and some more information about these, go and follow my Twitter and my Instagram. There's loads more information over there. The ROG Phone 2 is not being marketed as a camera phone, but if you're spending this much, you're going to want something to take pictures with. It has a Sony IMX586 sensor, the same as is housed in the Redmi, and it also has a wide angle lens too. There's no 2x zoom camera on this one though. The Redmi does have one. Photography is much more of a feature in the Redmi K20 Pro, and it's something that a lot of people value. The cameras in the ROG phone could have been an afterthought, considering that's not the main selling point of the phone. But overall, the quality of the camera app and the quality of the pictures out of this thing, I don't think are going to let you down. It is obvious though that the K20 Pro is just a bit more rounded. Redmi have obviously spent more time perfecting and setting up the camera app. Apart from a slight difference in colors, the quality is going to be very subjective. You might like the more saturated, punchy colors of the Redmi, or you might like the more subdued colors of the ROG phone. This is the ultra wide on both. Going into the main sensor, the ROG phone can only zoom digitally, and it only goes up to 8x zoom. The K20 Pro can go up to 10x zoom, but for normal shots on the ultra wide and the main sensor without any zoom, I think they're very comparable. They use the same sensor under that main camera unit, and if you only zoom in 2x like I did here, you can't see much difference. Yeah, I think it's obvious that the Redmi probably does have a better camera overall. You get the 2x zoom, which is an extra feature, and that does help a little bit. I think it keeps more clarity. The ultra wides are very similar, to be honest, and I wouldn't say there's any quality difference between them. It's just comes down to personal preference with the colors. Actually, the selfies between them, I do prefer the ROG phone. I think the color of my skin is slightly more natural. The Mi phones, I've never really liked the selfie cameras on them, but again, that's personal preference. The ROG Phone does a much better job at giving you a blurry background here. Even though this isn't portrait mode, it noticed that I wanted to take a photo of something near, so it blurred out the background. I think for 80–90% of the stuff that you do on a normal basis, I think the camera in the ROG Phone is going to be absolutely fine. I wouldn't say it's going to give you the best images, but you get 4K video recording. The difference that we had in photos, the Redmi K20 Pro being a bit more saturated, also carries over to video, as you can see here. The colors in the ROG Phone are a bit more subtle, but quality between them is very, very similar. Stabilization out of the ROG Phone, I actually think is a little bit better than the Redmi K20 Pro. You get slightly less jitters when I take a step. Let me know what you think in the comments. Like I said, you get punchier colors out of the Redmi K20 Pro, but I didn't really have very high expectations from the cameras in the ROG Phone, so I was pleasantly surprised. But overall, you get slightly more features out of the Redmi K20 Pro. So is it because the GPU is 15% faster or better in this phone? I'm not really sure, maybe it's just down to the software, but I think that this actually has more stable 1080p footage than the Redmi. If you're buying this globally, then you'll be getting 12 gigabytes of RAM in the ROG Phone. My Chinese mainland unit has 8 gigs of RAM. The Snapdragon 855 Plus is more powerful than the 855, but not by a lot. Software loading screens are probably going to play a bigger role than the small increase in power you get from that new chip. The Redmi K20 Pro actually loaded PUBG first, and it was first again here to load this game. Moving on, and the ROG Phone 2 just beats the K20 Pro with League of Legends. And moving on to another game, again, the ROG Phone just beats the K20 Pro. But let's see who is the fastest. Let's do an Antutu benchmark. Of course, we're expecting the ROG Phone 2 to beat the K20 Pro here. It does have a more powerful chip, and wow, 480,000 Antutu score. That beats the Redmi K20 Pro. Still a great score from the K20 Pro, but that new chip in the ROG Phone is powerful. This thing is a monster. This is a heavyweight. This is Mike Tyson. This is like Muhammad Ali. Just unbelievably powerful. A quick temperature reading brings 39 degrees on the ROG Phone and only 36 on the K20 Pro. It will get hotter because it's a more powerful chip, even though it does have that cooling system in there. Both of the phones are capable of playing on the same settings. That's the highest frame rate and full HDR+, so you should get a similar experience from both of the devices. Something you get on the ROG Phone though is these air triggers. These are an absolutely awesome hardware feature that you just don't get on the Redmi. You literally press the top of the phone and you can fire and aim. What an amazing feature. If you're into gaming, it's great. The fact that you can play like this without any external hardware is a really great feature and unique to this phone. I won't take anything away from the K20 Pro though. As a normal type of phone, it's absolutely great. The gaming experience is really good. The screen is good. It's just that the ROG Phone is a specific gaming phone. And it cooled down really quickly after I stopped playing. That's a good feature too. Like I said, the air triggers on this were a surprise for me. Once you've used these, it's hard to go back to a normal type of phone and press the screen again. So look, a lot of people just don't need this phone. They don't require it. The K20 Pro is plenty powerful enough. A lot of people are just going to prefer having, you know, the extra zoom camera, the smaller, more elegant design, and the bezel-less display with really small top and bottom bezels. But if you're looking for out and out power, I mean, look, this is a gaming phone, and as a gaming phone, it rocks.